You're watching Reality Check. Tonight, we decode a raging debate that has broken out on whether the government has contributed to a financial crisis in Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, or HAL, the state-run defense manufacturer that is at the heart of the Rafale storm. It began on Friday when, in response to opposition allegations that the NDA government had excluded HAL from the Rafale deal, the defense minister claimed that the government had awarded close to 1 lakh crore of defense contracts to HAL.
Presently, following procurement orders are in the pipeline for the HAL. 83 LCA Tejas fighter ka order worth 50,000 crore. 15 combat helicopter ka order worth 3,000 crore. 200 Camo helicopter ka order 20,000 crore. 19 Dornier transport aircraft ka order 3,400 crore. Other helicopters 15,000 crore. Aero engines 8,400 crores. All of them put together totals to 1 lakh crores, which we have given for HAL.
But the Times of India reported, and so did the Business Standard, that HAL has for the first time in recent years slipped into a negative, forcing it to seek bank loans to pay salaries. The HAL chairman quoted as saying that the government, particularly the Air Force, owed HAL about 15,000 crore rupees, not just for advance payments, but for work completed. And that's why the company had to borrow about 1,000 crores to pay wages. This provoked a fresh round of criticism from the opposition, with Rahul Gandhi tweeting saying, when you tell one lie, you need to keep spinning out more lies to cover up the first ones. In her eagerness to defend the Prime Minister, the Raksha Mantri has lied to Parliament. She must place before the Parliament documents showing the 1 lakh crore of government orders to HAL or resign. To this, Ms. Sitharaman has tweeted out these documents that you're going to see shortly up on the screen, which show the breakup of the 1 lakh crores. Turns out these projects are all in the pipeline. Some are contracts signed, some are yet to be finalized. So in that sense, no real payment appears to have been made. She further underlined this in Parliament today.
I would like to set all doubts to rest by adding that I have received confirmation from the HAL that during 2014-18, contracts amounting to 26,570.80 crores of rupees have already been signed with HAL, and orders approximately 73,000 crores of rupees are in the pipeline. I will allow you. The details of these orders are placed at the Annexure 1 and Annexure 2 respectively. The above documents clearly confirm the correctness of my statement made on the floor of this House, and that doubts raised in this regard are incorrect and misleading.
Now, Rahul Gandhi has of course questioned this, but political rhetoric aside, the fact is that the Defence Minister has not explained then why HAL has had to borrow funds to pay its staff. Publicly available records show that HAL's profits in the past 4 years have been robust, rising from about 1,000 crores in 2014-15 to about 2,000 crores last year. We have data for profits only for the first 2 quarters of this year for about 660 crores. But what may have added to the strain on HAL are 2 factors, possibly. One, the dividend it pays to the government has steadily risen in the past 4 years, climbing from about 500 crores to over 1,000 crores in the last financial year. Moreover, HAL has spent about 6,400 crores to buy back its own shares from the government, a new arrangement that appears to have begun in 2015. Moreover, as the defense analyst Ajay Shukla reports, it's not as if the Air Force doesn't have the money. It has 43% or 36,000 crores of the defense budget, but that, he says, is being used to pay overseas vendors, particularly to Dassault for the Rafale, and that's left the Indian Air Force with no money to pay HAL. We've actually confirmed from our sources that the Air Force has been able to pay Dassault an advance for the Rafale jet for approximately 3 billion euros. which comes to roughly about 20 to 22,000 crores. That's been paid to Dassault. So the question then is, why not pay your own Air Force manufacturer? All right, let's just go across to our panel. We have with us Vivek Reddy of the BJP is going to be joining us shortly from Bangalore. Meanwhile, we have Ajay Shukla, who's joining us from Skype from Delhi, and Pawan Khera of the Congress is with us. And here in the studio, we have Commodore Uday Bhaskar, Director, Society for Policy Studies, and a well-known defense analyst. Now, if I can just start with you, Ajay, because you also confirmed a similar figure that Dassault has already been paid 20,000 crore rupees in advance, but HAL, and this is for for projects not yet delivered, but HAL is still waiting for money for projects delivered.
Yes, HAL is due already by the 31st of December. It was due 15,700 crore rupees from the Indian Air Force. And HAL executives say that by the time the year finishes on the 31st of March, they will be due 20,000 crores. Now, that is the full annual turnover of HAL. And as a consequence of which, they simply don't have any money to function any longer. Leave alone projects, leave alone developmental work, leave alone manufacturing, leave alone the supply of spares and assemblies. They don't have money to even pay their salaries. So as a result of which, they had to take an overdraft of 781 crore rupees to pay their salaries this month. This is sort of extremely badly taken within HAL. It's an issue of morale within the company. On the one hand, the defense minister has been making public statements saying that HAL is incapable of building the Rafale fighter. On the other hand, they're not getting their salaries. On the third hand, there's no money to pay for developmental projects and so on. So all in all, it's a complete mess. And if you're treating your premier aerospace manufacturer in this manner, then it's hard to understand how you expect anything to be delivered by them.
Right. Vivek Reddy explained this. I mean, this is supposed to be a nationalist government. You're in Bangalore. You, I'm sure, consider yourself a nationalist. Explain this. Why is HAL being starved of funds which are being used to pay Dassault?
Yeah, I think Mr. Srinivasan Jain, the entire angle or perspective from which we are looking is perhaps not the right perspective.
Okay, what is the right perspective?
HAL, if you look at the past 5 years, if you look at the past 5 years, from some of the figures that you have brought out in this episode, if you look at those figures, HAL's profits have increased as per its filings. From 1,000 crore in 2014 to 2,000 crore last year. And first 2 quarters are reporting about 600 crores. This is one. Second thing is, there are pending payments from IAF to the tune of 15,000 crore to 20,000 crore. This is the second perspective.
Yes.
The third is that government has kept in pipeline contracts worth 73 crores and already signed contracts worth 23,000 crores.
But that's
now,
all.
if you look at the
that
total exposure of HAL with the government of India, let me just complete.
Paper.
If you look at the total exposure, it is not on paper. Contracts signed are not on paper. Amounts
no
due
money
from
is being
government
paid
of
to
India
them.
for
No.
works completed are not on paper.
And
government
Vivek,
of India will honor it.
Vivek.
Government of India will be making these
Simple
payments.
question.
Apparently.
Vivek, simple question. Vivek, just a simple question. Simple question.
Srinivasan Jain,
One second, simple question.
Question is
Simple
the larger
question.
issue that you put across in this program.
Simple
Let me just
question.
complete.
Government,
The issue
just
that
hold
you
on,
put across.
Let me
I will
ask you a
take
simple question.
Just a second.
Let me ask you a simple question.
The issue that you put across is that we are leaving HAL.
Vivek,
Where
you
is
have
the
to allow me
question
to
of
ask you a
leaving
question or I have to silence your mic. Let me ask you a simple question.
Yeah.
HAL is owed 15,000 crore rupees. Why doesn't the government pay it? Why is it making HAL for the first time having to actually go to banks to borrow money to pay its salaries, and instead the government is paying Dassault? Why?
Srinivasan Jain, Mr. Srinivasan Jain, see, if the HAL is reporting profits of 2,000 crore last year, it is only because the government has paid. because the major contractor for the HAL, the tenderer, is the government of India. So therefore, till last year, the government has maintained an impeccable record. This also will be paid. But what I'm telling you is that we are saying the narrative that is put out is...
one sec.
No, it is not wrong. The narrative that is put out is that government is preferring dassault for HAL.
Okay, I'm coming to Pawan Khera, but let Ajay respond.
Dassault for HAL.
Okay,
when HAL is given an exposure of 1 lakh crores.
Okay, 1 second. Why is Vivek Reddy wrong, Ajay Shukla? Vivek Reddy, just a second.
We are not favoring HAL.
Vivek Reddy, just a second, Vivek. Just a second. Let others speak. Ajay Shukla.
The problem with Vivek Reddy is he just makes up his facts as he goes along. This 15,700 crore that is overdue, out of this 7,000 crore is overdue from last year. So even last year and the year before that, HAL has not been paid its dues, and the amount has been gradually accumulating to where it has reached now. It has to be borne in mind by this government, Srinivasan, that this is a public limited company. There are shareholders, there are people who own stakes, common citizens who own stakes in this company. And when the government causes a company to go to the banks for even running capital, it impacts the share price. Vivek Reddy is trying to make out that the government is doing HAL a favor by placing orders. In defense, the government is the only buyer. It has to place orders. Only then can it run a company. He seems to be unaware of the basics of the defense business.
Okay, Pawan Khera, let Pawan Khera come in. Pawan Khera, Pawan, just a second.
The government wants to pay 25,000 crores. That's the exposure. Signed orders.
Pawan Khera, let Pawan Khera come in. Pawan Khera, now, for whatever it's worth, Nirmala Sitharaman did respond to, to Rahul Gandhi today, but Rahul Gandhi continues to maintain that she's not answered his question, is not an adequate answer. Why?
Definitely, it's not an adequate answer. She first says that their project's worth 1 lakh crores being given to HAL.
Yes.
Then when she gets caught red-handed lying, because HAL says they haven't received a penny, she says, okay, 24,000 crores is already given, the rest are in pipeline. And how do you define pipeline? RFP stage is one, the other stage is technical evaluation. How does the Honorable Defence Minister know already that all these projects are going to HAL when they are at the stage of RFP? So, just to conceal one big lie of one big man called Mr. Modi, everybody is spinning in circles and lying. The fact of the matter is, here is the example of how HAL was shabbily treated. Projects were taken away from them and given to Mr. Modi's friend Anil Ambani. Fact of the matter is, on the one hand, Nirmala Sitharaman says HAL is an incapable organization. On the other hand, she says we are giving them projects worth 1 lakh crores, and that too is a lie. So they are absolutely confused, they are driven to the wall, they really don't know how to now wriggle out of the web of lies that they have woven around themselves. Fact of the matter is, when we left government, in 2015, the cash...
Can I just come in?
Sorry.
Vasu.
Okay, the gross cash balance was 17,671 crores.
One second.
And HAL has manufactured upgradation of Jaguars, Hawks, Sukhois, MiGs, Chetaks. So you can't undermine a Navratan
you have to allow me
government just because you want to favor your
friends. Fine. Pawan,
and that too, you give 20,000 crores without sovereign guarantee.
Okay, Pawan, just a second. Pawan, just a second.
Sure.
Vivek, hold on. I have to bring in Commodore Uday Bhaskar. One of the things also reported in Ajay's piece today for Business Standard is that he reviewed some documents, some letters between HAL's officials, and that states the current cash flow situation of the company is very critical. It's been understood during the discussions held with the MOD last week that the further allocations may not be forthcoming till 31st March 2019. And also that this is the HAL chief, Mr. Madhavan, speculating, saying we've been maintaining the IF's aircraft fleet, but if we don't get this money, that may be affected badly as well. So there's a kind of security risk to all of this.
Yeah, I think if you look at what has appeared in the media today, both in the Business Standard that Ajay has reported and a couple of other papers, there's a very incongruous development which I think you also flagged in the early stage of the report, that if a public sector unit like the HAL does not have enough funds to pay wages, It's a very incongruous and I would say a very odd fiscal management pattern, where
for
you
some,
are
for a PSU which has been cash rich, has been
absolutely, and which has
years.
returned a profit of over 1,000 crores as per the figures that have been shown.
Yes.
So I think, Vasu, there are two issues here. One is we all respect as citizens of this country the sanctity of Parliament. So I'm sure that whatever is being stated in Parliament is the truth and nothing but the truth in terms of figures. The other is, I think, the media and the index of accuracy. If a major print publication in India, whatever be its name, reports that HAL has gone to a bank to pay its wages, and we are talking about 781 odd crores, then clearly the government has not been able to provide necessary funds, though it has got a profit from the same company. So I'd only make this point that not only is it very odd in terms of financial management, but the CMD has already flagged that come the next year, I may not be able to service your aircraft. That is a very serious observation.
That's very
and
worrying.
It's like the amber light.
Right.
So if I'm looking at this as a citizen based on what is available in the media, credible media, I think there are a number of issues here that frankly the government and the Parliament must revisit in a very objective way.
What about this point, Vivek Reddy, that this could actually lead to, this is a kind of security concern for us now, that if HAL is not able to service aircraft, I mean, that's a big problem. Is it not?
I don't think so. Well, now from what the
you don't
two
think it's a
panelists
problem?
prior to had said, I have I need some time to clarify. I need some time to clarify.
No,
First
but
of all is this.
Hold on, but you don't think it's a problem that HAL is not going to have funds to service aircraft?
No. When you have, why it is not a problem, I'll tell you. When you have a outstanding receipt that you are liable to receive, worth about 15,000 to 20,000 crore, and Government of India is the person who has to pay, I don't think you have to press the panic buttons at all, because it will be paid. Let us be very clear about that. The debtor here is, the person who owes this money is the Government of India.
But when?
So there is absolutely no doubt that the Government of India will not honor this. It has never happened in history. It will be paid. This is first. Second thing is,
Vivek, but we
what
just
is
read
the
out
question asked to Nirmala Srinivasan?
No, but
what was, let me just finish this.
But
what is the question asked to
once
Nirmala
again,
Srinivasan?
HAL is saying
The
that
Congress
we are not
president
getting
raised one
any
issue.
further allocation
let me just finish this.
until the end of March. HAL is himself saying the IF and the Defence Ministry
that is not right, because
for the
contracts,
next 3 months, there is no payment.
That is not right. The signed contracts, the signed contracts as announced by the Honorable Defence Minister today in the Parliament is worth 24,000 crore and odd. So therefore, they cannot say that nothing is being received. Probably the media is not reporting it properly. This is one.
The second
thing is,
what was the question
posed to the Defence Minister?
The
question posed to the Defence Minister was,
Director.
what are the contracts that you have given to HAL? The question posed by the opposition, the Congress President was, you have given nothing to HAL. This is a lie. This is a gross lie on the face of it.
Okay, Pawan,
he said, you have not given one contract. Tell me one contract.
Okay,
and
Pawan,
that is what the Home Minister, Defence Minister
let him
said.
respond.
Look here, there are 24,000 crores of signed contracts. What more?
Okay, let
Why
him
is
respond.
the Congress misleading?
Okay,
that
let him
it has
respond.
to answer this country.
Can
and
he
Mr.
respond?
Srinivasan Jain, you have to ask the Congress. Why is it resorting to lies merely to grab power?
You have to stop speaking so
that
you
is
can go to
absolutely
him.
wrong.
Okay, Pawan Khera, respond.
They have to have some responsibility.
All right, Pawan, respond. Yes, go ahead, Pawan.
Vasu, please remind this over-enthusiastic gentleman that HAL said yesterday, and it got reported in a leading newspaper on page 1, that not 1 rupee has come to them of that 1 lakh crore she is talking about. And then, once she really got exposed,
Mr. Pawan Khera, Rahul Gandhi raised
don't interrupt.
She comes back
Vivek,
in Parliament and then talks about 24,000 crores. And the rest are RFPs and technical evaluation and so on and so forth, which is not work in hand.
Why did
there
he
is a
say
difference.
nothing was signed?
Vivek, do not interrupt, my friend. He didn't interrupt you. He didn't interrupt you. Come on.
HAL said nothing came to them. You are trying to say HAL is a liar, Rahul Gandhi is lying, entire media is lying, Times of India is lying. Only one person called Nirmala Sitharaman is not lying. She is covering up for Narendra Modi, who snatched work from Rafale, from HAL and gave it to Anil Ambani.
Okay.
Without a sovereign guarantee,
Ajay,
you give 20,000 crores and you don't have money to give to
I think-
HAL for
I think
salaries.
this is the continuation of lies.
Okay.
This is
Politicians,
the continuation of gross lies that the Congress is
Politicians
resorting to.
allow
Rahul
others-
Gandhi asked one question.
politicians
He said,
allow others.
nothing is signed with HAL. But
Okay.
Nirmala Sitaraman,
Okay, Ajay wants to come in.
cried bluff.
HAL
Showed
said
the bluff.
not 1 rupee
Showed that
has
it
come
was
to
false.
us.
Okay, gentlemen,
What
gentlemen,
you
please.
you are
I don't want to
trying to say
silence
HAL
Mike.
is a liar?
Please allow the others to come in. Ajay Shukla.
They don't have
Srinivasan,
money to pay their salaries.
Ajay,
It's a
come in.
record of sorts.
Okay, Pawan, just a
ये
second.
70 साल में पहली बार हुआ है.
Okay, Pawan, let Ajay come in. Ajay, yes.
Rahul
You know
Gandhi
what
must
is
be reminded.
clearly
You must
the
be
issue
reminded of
here,
what your Congress
as the
said.
defense minister I'm sure knows, is not that HAL does not have any contracts. HAL already has an order book position of 60,000 crore rupees. The problem is not that it doesn't have contracts or orders. The problem is that it is not getting paid for the contracts and orders that it is discharging, as a result of which all its day-to-day activities, its production work, its developmental projects, and even its salaries cannot be paid. What is so difficult to understand in this? It is not a question of orders. It's a question of payment for those orders and for orders discharged.
Right. Okay. You know what is worrying, I think you pointed this out earlier, was this kind of running down of actually a very prestigious private sector, public sector
I think
aviation manufacturer.
If we review what has appeared in the public domain over the last couple of weeks plus, I would say, in relation to the Rafale deal, as also the HAL, I would make the point as an analyst that it is a very sad day when India's principal political parties and their leaders are running down defense public sector units like the HAL. I mean, whether you like it or not, the HAL is part of the Navratnas. It is one of the only aircraft manufacturing institution that we have in India.
Right.
Over the decades, it has assembled, put together more than 2,000 aircraft. So I would say the challenge for the political leadership and the higher defense management is to make it more viable.
Right.
Unfortunately, I think, Vasu, this has to be said very clearly. Over the last 25-30 years, from Bofors HTW to where we are now, we are scraping the bottom of the barrel in terms of making national security and the acquisition of military inventory
Into
the
a-
handmaiden of politics
into a political
for very
football,
short-term gains. And I think the fact that we are splitting hair about one word or the other in Parliament
worrying.
is also a poor
Okay,
reflection, I think, on the sanctity of Parliament.
Right.
So
you
these
know,
are
Vivek
serious
Reddy,
issues.
the point is, let's come back to the main issue here, that the government had the money to pay Dassault $3 billion, 22,000 crores, but you're not paying HAL.
You force them to go to a bank.
You can pay the French.
Well,
You can pay a
Vasu, it's very
private
clear
French manufacturer,
that
but
it
not
is very
HAL.
clear that India, it is very clear, the Supreme Court has also stated that, it is very clear that India had delayed the acquisition of a 4.5 generation and 5th generation aircraft. When your neighbors are acquiring and arming themselves with these aircrafts, it is high time you do something. What did the UPA government do? The UPA slept on it. It
But
said it
why
had no
are you-
money.
No, but that's
And
not
do
the
you
point.
think we could continue such a status
but
quo?
why would you- why
you
would
will
you
have
pay-
to invest. You
One
will
second,
have to
why
invest,
would you
Vasu,
pay Dassault?
in acquiring 5th generation aircraft.
But HAL is also about national security, is it not?
The HAL is in profit.
This gentleman
Kindly
needs
note.
to go through
Kindly
the entire
note. The
process
last
of
last year
acquisition.
But
HAL
Vivek,
has reported
gentleman
HAL
has
is
not
also
done his
about
homework,
national
Vasu.
security, no?
The
This
Indian
first
Air
two
Force
quarters,
took
it
8
has
years
reported
in
600
identifying this
600
aircraft,
crore profit.
which
It
is
is wrong for the panelists to
absolutely
say
in tune
that
with
HAL
our
is
defense
neglected.
requirement.
It is wrong.
The Indian Air Force
The facts
had
and
to-
figures
had
suggest
to
otherwise.
actually
Mr.
test
Madhavan himself,
six
the HAL
different
chief,
And
who
who
saying
turned
we're
this
in the
into a political
negative.
football?
Parameters.
It is
That
the
takes
Congress.
time. This
It's
gentleman
not-
It
should
is
do
the
his homework
Congress
for
has
opinion.
turned
chief.
this
He just
into a
doesn't do his
political
homework.
football. It will
You
not
are
be
blaming the
negative.
Indian Air Force of taking
The
time in choosing
Indian
Rafale. I'm
government
sorry.
will honor
You
the
should
entire
please
15,000
ask some
crore.
Indian Air Force officials
And
how much
the
time does
Congress
it take
must
to
stop raising
test
false
6
ground.
different
Okay, we
aircraft
can't
with
hear-
just
we
47
no one can
parameters.
understand.
First, do your homework, gentlemen, and then come and open your mouth on national network.
Okay,
Vasu,
time is almost
You
up.
absolutely,
Kindly ask the
absolutely not
Congress.
aware
Let
of
him
how
do his
these
homework.
planes are
Let
Okay,
him
okay,
ask his
last
president,
word.
why
Last word, Ajay
President, why
Shukla.
is he lying
Gentlemen,
around this
gentlemen.
nation?
Please, you've never.
Ajay,
that
I'm
is
trying
always
to
seen,
ask you a
Mr. Shetty,
question
you never
through
do
the
your
din.
homework. You never do your homework.
Why do you
You are like
think?
your
Rahul
leader.
Gandhi is
Why do you
answerable to
think
this
the
country as
MOD
to
doesn't
why-
have the money to pay HAL? What's the problem, you think?
This is clearly an issue of financial mismanagement. The Indian Air Force has got, out of all three services, the highest capital budget. It got 35,000 crore rupees compared to 26,000 and 20,000 crore for the other two services. So it definitely should have the money to pay its outstanding bills.
Right.
But clearly the cash flow has not been managed well by the Ministry of Defence.
Okay.
And there is no question about it. It has to pay at least a part of this money to HAL. Otherwise, the Air Force's repairs, the Air Force's servicing, key developmental projects will grind to a halt. And you can keep debating this on television as much as you like, but on the ground in Bangalore, from where I've just landed, the situation is close to crisis.
Okay, all right, situation close to crisis. That's worrying. But thank you all so much for joining us. That's it on Reality Check. Thanks for watching. Good night.